Thank you for joining me for the demonstration for month 4, where we've made our blocks 7A and 7B. And so positioned behind me, I've completed these blocks, and you can actually kind of move ahead a little bit to the finishing, and you can sew the center star together. So the center star instructions are on page 31 of your booklet. We're working through the Amish with a Twist 2 by Nancy Rink. And so now you have all of the elements to complete this center square. You'll have your mosaic star from last month, and then all of the blocks that we sewed this month will get sewn around. So I'll start by sewing these two pairs together on top and on bottom. And then once I have those pairs together, I can then sew my rows together to create the center square. So I went ahead and I sewed my half square triangles and squared those up. And that's a technique that you've already learned in previous months. So you have your half square triangle blocks. This block here, you will make 4 of them, and it's just a little hourglass block. It's a 4-patch unit, so you will sew it like we've sewn our other 4-patch units together. And I've pressed these half square triangles to the dark. This is a new technique here, this unit, and it's going to be sewn half and half. So these diagonal cuts that we made on these squares, remember these are on the bias, so they have some stretch. So it's important that you don't mishandle those. But we need to sew these 2 triangles onto our half square triangle to finish this block. So I'm just going to pull one out of the stack here so you can see that I will position this triangle onto my half square triangles, right sides together. And I simply just align the corner, this side that's going to get sewn, onto my half square triangle. And you will notice that you're going to have these little dog ears that hang off on either side, and that's okay. You do want that. So I'm going to stitch from this corner that I lined up all the way down past that dog ear. I thought I'd also take the opportunity to show you here in front of my sewing machine how that will be placed and stitched as well. So I want this to be one straight line here, and there's going to be a little hang off on the end. That's what you want. So I place those right sides together, and I'll bring them underneath my sewing machine, and I will stitch that with a 1/4 inch seam. Alright, I've got that stitched, and I have pressed it to the dark. So there's my stitch and pressed to the dark. And now I'm ready to place my next piece. And so that's going to get placed on the opposite side. So when I line this up here, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to line that corner up with that excess hanging off that same direction. I generally like to start sewing up here at the top and then work my way down. So I'm going to be sewing this from the back side. Because I like to see that corner, and I like to start at the corner and then work my way down. And I'm going to sew all the way off the edge. And I press it. This is the block that I end up with. And so you will have these dog ears down here that you can then trim off to make that a nice even flush, and that creates a half square triangle unit that can then be sewn along this long edge of your red fabric piece. So then you can place these right sides together. And stitch all the way down. And so now they've been pressed and sewn and pressed. And so you're going to have 8 of these bird in flight and 4 of the hourglass blocks.